Cathro, and I really appreciate your having us here today. I wanted to share a little bit of the background of what is it supposed to be for a person who lives in the United States of America. What does citizenship mean, and how do you get there? And I have my little handy-dandy, year-long course of American history reduced to this. That the wanted posters are on some people that you recognize. Jefferson, Washington. This is James Madison. This one is George Mason. We're going to talk a little bit about him also. But the reason that they were wanted as traitors is because of this, which is a proclamation that was put out by King George III in the summer of 1775, declaring all of them rebels against the kingdom and against the monarchy, and calling upon all the citizens of the colonies to report them to the military. Had they been reported, they would have forfeited all of their properties and been hung. So, according to George III, from the middle of 1775, all of the people whom we revere as our founding fathers and patriots were wanted for treason. And I think it's important to think about that, because sometimes people will say, well, it was developed by a bunch of white guys who all had money, That's way too easy and way too glib an understanding of who they were and what they put at risk of their own lives in order for us to be citizens of this country. I know all of you probably have reasons for wanting impeachment, but we're not going to deal with the long list of reasons. This isn't really about venting because we're all seriously angry at our present government. It's about solutions, and what are some of the ways we can take back people power, and what are our powers as citizens. We hear a lot about our rights, and people will say, it's my right to smoke in a crowded restaurant. It's my right as an American not to wear a helmet if I don't want to on my bicycle. But there's also a lot of really important rights that we know about. That's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you back real quickly to this guy. This is George Mason. He was involved very deeply in the convention in 1787 for our Constitution. He brought to it, a month before, he'd been authorized by the colony of Virginia to develop the Declaration of Liberty for the citizens of Virginia. He brought that with him. And the Constitutional Convention, as it was ending in 1787, still did not have a Bill of Rights attached for the citizens. He refused to sign it. And not only did he refuse to sign it, he put the word out that it's not there, and ignited a lot of pressure on the people who were the original signers, and influenced James Madison significantly. Madison is the primary author of the Constitution. He's also the guy who ultimately pushed for a Bill of Rights. And that didn't get signed and passed until 1791. So it was 4 years after the Constitution. They were duking it out, essentially, about having rights for the citizens. And if you look at our Bill of Rights, the way they're stipulated in the Constitution, they're almost, in some cases, word for word, with the Declaration for Rights here it is, the Virginia Declaration of Rights, which were written by George Mason. So the one that really gave us the Bill of Rights, which is the most important piece in many ways of the Constitution for us, is George Mason. And we need to recognize we're a long stream of people who said it's important for people to know who they are and to exercise their rights. You'll notice that right on the top is a collection of short websites to go into. 3 of those websites have to do with impeachment programs. It turns out there are impeachment efforts going on all over the country. We never hear about them on the media. You'll hear them on special media like Democracy Now! and some of those. You're not going to hear it on the mainstream, but there are thousands and thousands of people across the country who are involved in efforts at impeachment. And those have different styles, and we'll talk a little bit about what the different styles are. But each one of those will lead you into information about what's going on at a national level. The first one, which is impeachbush.org, is a national level. You can sign on their petition online. And one thing that's important to remember also is this is not like voting. You can sign everybody's petition as long as it's not twice on the same petition, because that's kind of useless to the people who are gathering it. But that one is going, nationwide, whole lots of signatures. They're going to take it directly to the House of Representatives. The next one, which is Washington for Impeachment, is one that was introduced last year. It's going through the state legislature. If a resolution for impeachment gets passed in the state legislature, then it goes to the House of Representatives, and that's another way to introduce charges against whoever it is you want to impeach, and get the House of Representatives geared up to it. The reason for that is it begins with the House of Representatives. They function as a kind of district attorney's office, formulating the charges, studying them, deciding are these impeachable offenses, and creating a case, which then gets sent to the Senate, and the Senate is where the trial goes on. And so the Senate functions like a trial, a jury and a judge for deciding, yeah, he's impeached. The 828 form that's there will tell you about all the different ones that are going on in the country. Hundreds and hundreds of efforts that are going on. So we're not alone in trying it. And the last one I wanted to mention is Vote Smart. I don't know if you're familiar yet with that website, but it's the best one out there for looking at candidates. Every one of them, all the people in the Congress are listed on there with their complete record of what they vote on and how they vote on every single issue. Plus their bios, who supports them, all that stuff. And any who are running for office, and this year there are a lot of people from the Congress who are running, all of them are listed on there. I also checked on John Edwards because he is no longer in the Senate, but he's still on their side. So if you want to check on his voting record. I also today brought a couple of books, one of which gets mentioned in the video that we're going to show, called The Genius of Impeachment. If you want to know more about this process, why it happens, how it happens, that's a great one. And I brought a copy of one called Impeaching George W. Bush, which is put out by the National Center for the Constitution. Okay. Now let's take a quick second, and I want you to tell me what you think your powers are as a citizen. Not your rights, because we already know George Mason did a good job for us on that. What about your powers? What do you think of? If you think of yourself as a voter in the United States, what powers do you have?
Voting.
Voting, right.
Free speech.
Well, but free speech is a right. And I'm talking about what powers do we have. Dissent. What else? We also have the right to initiate processes whereby we can bring about impeachment. So we've already seen the national one that's going on, and then you deliver it to the people in the House of Representatives, and you say, look, this is what this great mass of people is saying we want to have happen. You can do it through your state legislature, etc., like that process that we talked about. You can also do it as Congressman Kucinich has done. He brought it up from the floor because he's in the House of Representatives, and that's another way that it can happen. But we do have that power. We can hire those guys through voting, and we can get rid of them either by voting them out, or if they really have to be gotten rid of before another election, we can initiate processes that will bring about impeachment.